It is an honor to introduce for opening remarks the chair of WGA, the 38th governor of the great state of Oregon, the Honorable Kate Brown.
Thank you so much for that very generous introduction, Jim. I'm so pleased that Western governors are still able to meet, even if virtually, under these circumstances. It's more important now than ever that we take the time to join together to convene, learn from one another, and emerge anew to lead our states through the most challenging time in our history. That's why our first panel discussion today will focus on how governors and states have addressed public health and economic challenges associated with the COVID-19 pandemic. We will discuss strategies to protect our residents, procure PPE, and prepare for the delivery of vaccines in our states. Following that discussion, Brad Smith, president of Microsoft, will deliver a keynote address and host a conversation with Hawaii Governor David Ige and North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum on how COVID has accelerated technological change across government, the private sector, and education systems. Western governors will then discuss this year's extremely challenging fire season and action states can take to promote forest and rangeland resilience across the West. Our final agenda item will include a keynote address and conversation with Dr. Sanjeev Arora, who in 2003 founded Project Echo, a telementoring model for healthcare. Dr. Arora will discuss Project Echo's success in promoting improved healthcare outcomes for underserved communities worldwide. I'm looking forward to learning from my fellow governors and our guest speakers. But first, I'd like to share an update on the progress of my WGA Chair's initiative, the Electric Vehicles Roadmap. While my initiative was developed long before the pandemic reached our shores, it is built upon the same premise that has made our collaborative work as Western governors during this time so essential and unique. We all believe that in this space, no matter which side of the aisle we come from, we recognize the importance of putting aside the political differences that play out nationally and instead put the people of the West above all else. And when we do this, what we are able to accomplish together becomes an example for the entire country. My chair's initiative was developed through this lens, an issue that states across the West are already working on, both individually and collaboratively, an issue that bolsters our current economies and creates a roadmap, both literally and figuratively, to the future. Our states are working to encourage the use of electric vehicles by both consumers and businesses. That's because we recognize that a robust and efficient transportation sector is key to meeting economic goals and connecting businesses to regional and international markets. This matter is especially important as the cost of accessing those markets increases and the health of our economy is impacted by the pandemic. The use of electric vehicles also allows us to power our transportation system with energy produced right here in our Western states. As we all know, the wind in our plains, the sun in our deserts, and the water in our rivers are less subject to the global geopolitical forces that influence oil markets. The good news is that these collaborative efforts are well on their way already. Great examples include the West Coast Electric Highway and the Regional Electric Vehicle Plan for the West. The West Coast Electric Highway is an agreement among California, Oregon, Washington, and British Columbia to ensure that there are enough charging stations along the length of I-5 to allow electric vehicle users to travel the length of the West Coast with the same certainty they would have if they were driving a gas vehicle. But Oregon, Washington, and California aren't alone. Arizona, Colorado, Idaho, Montana, Nevada, New Mexico, Utah, and Wyoming have all joined together to create the Rev West. Their work to make it possible to operate an EV as one travels across the Intermountain West, shining example of bipartisan collaboration. These efforts are born out of a mutual understanding that facilitating the use of electric vehicles isn't a political imperative, it's an economic one, making it easier for both consumers and businesses to travel and transport goods using electric vehicles frees up household incomes and yields increased profits. I believe that today we are on the precipice of a historic transition. Coordinated planning and investment around EV infrastructure now can unlock new potential across the West. My chair's initiative is working to coordinate technical aspects between existing sub-regional EV collaboratives and encourage participation from our Western states not yet engaged in EV network planning. Our goal is to make progress towards or achieve an expanded regional agreement on EV charging infrastructure by the WGA 2021 annual meeting next year. Fortunately, we are already well on our way. We have held 7 work sessions. We've brought together officials from the public sector with electric utilities, electric vehicle manufacturers, and charging station manufacturers to chart a coordinated path forward to the expanded use of EVs. We've deliberated opportunities for states to support the growth of the consumer, medium-duty, and heavy-duty EV sectors, promote investment by utilities and their rate structures, the streamlining of permitting and siting, charging infrastructure inconsistencies, the promotion of tourism corridors, and how to expand EV fleets in both urban and rural communities. In the coming months, we will begin the hard work of synthesizing the findings of these sessions into a potential agreement amongst the states of the West. At the same time, WGA will host a series of webinars for the public to further explore the expansion of EVs in the West. As we move into the development of an agreement, I have asked our team to explore how we can hold ourselves accountable to the success of any potential agreement. An agreement is only as successful as its implementation. And I'd like each party to be equally committed to the expansion of EV infrastructure across the entire West. This work is emblematic of the spirit of the Western Governors Association, building on the successful efforts of individual states to create mutual benefit for all of us. I look forward to today's meeting, our discussion on several topics of the pressing issues of our time and how we can work together to overcome these challenges and emerge a stronger and safer Western region. Thank you.